did it yesterday. Yeah, we had earlier, there's a machlokes, Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov in the Chachomim, that if a man, a Kohen Gadol, marries a woman who was raped by someone else or seduced by someone else, she's not a virgin, is the child a cholo? Right? Because a Kohen Gadol is not permitted to marry a woman who's not a virgin. So if a Kohen marries any of the women that he's not permitted to, the child's definitely a cholo. Everybody agrees he's not a Kohen. But the question is, what about if the reason why he's not permitted to marry is because she's not a psula? Does that cause one to be a cholo? Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov says yes. The Chacham say no. Even though he violated the law of kuna, but we'll say it's only mitzvah saseh. It's only a positive commandment. It's not a negative commandment. Okay, so that's we're going to start from there. We're holding samachom and aleph at the two dots. Omer Rafuna Rav haloch Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov. Although the Chacham argue, we rule like Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov that what? That if a Kohen Gadol marries a woman who's not a psula, the child's a cholo. It's like an ordinary Kohen marrying a grusha. Same thing. V'chein Rav Gidl Rav Gidl also quoted Rav saying, halach Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov. We rule like Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov, the child's a cholo. Ika di Amri, another version, Omer Rav, Huna Omer Rav, my time of the Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov. What's the basis? Savel Rabbi Eliezer. Now, why when a Kohen marries a grusha, why is the child a cholo? What? Any forbidden relationship a Kohen has with a woman, if she's not permitted, the woman becomes a zona. The child of a zona is what? Is a cholo. So if you're of the opinion that two single people, the man and woman, have relations, although there's no prohibition, but it was an illicit relationship, meaning it wasn't within the context of marriage, you hold she becomes a zona. So therefore, even if a woman is raped or seduced, right? So what was they weren't married. Rabbi Eliezer holds the woman becomes a zona. So he wants to say that Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov follows the position of Rabbi Eliezer. Therefore, as a result of that, if a Kohen Gadol marries a woman who was raped or seduced by another Jew, the child's a cholo. Why? Because she's a zona. Any illicit relationship, even though there's no negative commandment, the woman's a zona. Okay? So that's what the Gemara says. My time of the Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov, Sovelok Rabbi Eliezer, that he holds that Ponei Abola Pnuya, we'll see in a moment that even a single man has a relation with a single woman, both Jewish, the woman becomes a zona. So Gemara says, is it possible that he follows the position of Rabbi Eliezer? Well, Kaimelon, Mishas Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov Kavanoki. Why do we rule like Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov, although he's a minority opinion? Because he himself, his Mishnah is what? Has been sifted through and it's pure. V'ilu b'ho, but regarding Rabbi Eliezer, Ponei Abola Pnuya, a single man having a relation with a single Jewish woman, Omer Rav Amar Omer Rav, Ein aloch Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov. So we have a problem here. Here Rav rules like Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov that the child's a cholo. And he rules that, not like Rabbi Eliezer, that when two Jews have relations, that she's a zona. So therefore, kasha. Therefore, that cannot be the reason. There must be some other reason. Rav Ashi Omar. Rav Ashi, this is the argument. This is the basis for the argument. Yesh chol mechai v'yaseh kamifli. Now, a Kohen, when he marries a woman, is not a virgin. What did he violate? Not a negative commandment. Mitzvah saseh, because it says he should marry a psula. So if he doesn't, he's violating a positive commandment. So the question is, if the Kohen Gadol violates a positive commandment, is the result of that a cholo? Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov says yes. Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov says yesh chol mechai v'yaseh, that even though it's only a violation of a positive commandment, you have a cholo. Rabbonon sabri ein cholo mechai v'yaseh. My timer. What is the basis? My time, Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov. Why did Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov say that even for a nasei, the child's a cholo? The chsiv, the pasuk. What does the Torah say? Almona grusha v'chalola zona es ele lo yikoch. So it enumerates the widow, the divorcee, the chalola, the zona, lo yikoch. He's not. Then it says kim besula. Then says he must marry a besula, the Kohen Gadol. Uchsev, and what does it say afterwards? Lo yichalo zaro, ba'amov. So he should not desecrate his children. So what it seems to be akulu. So lo yichal zaro ba'amov is going back on all that was enumerated previously. So one of the things enumerated previously was what? The mitzvah say that he should what? That he should take a virgin. And then afterwards it says lo yichalel. So the lo yichal zaro is going back on whatever was enumerated previously in the pasuk. Therefore, Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov holds that even for mitzvah say, the child is a cholo. Okay? So if the Kohen Gadol marries a woman who had relations with someone else earlier, or not a virgin, the child's a cholo. Rabbanan, the Rabbanan, this is why? Eile hifsik, hoinin. When it enumerates all the women that are not permitted, then it says, if you take a look, Amar grusha chalola zona es eile lo yikoch. Then it says afterwards, lo yichal zaro b'amov. It's when it speaks about besula, that's after it says eile, right? So eile lo yikoch, the ones where he cannot take. So the eile separates between what was stated before and afterwards. So when it says lo yichal zaro, it's only back what was stated before the word eile. These he cannot take. Reb Elazar ben Yaakov Omer eile lemutei nida. No, the eile, everything mentioned in the pasuk there, even the asay, is a cholo. So what is eile? Eile means these. These come to exclude. That means if you have another type of illicit relationship, the child will not be a cholo. What is that illicit relationship? Lemuti nida. Let's say Kohen has relations with his wife, she's a nida, and there's a child born. Is the child a chol? Answer is no. It's only from what's enumerated in the pasuk. Eile, it's lo yichal zara, from these, but it's a nida not. Kaman azlo ho detanya. Now we quote about it. It says me'ela to osa cholo. It says from these you create a cholo. V'ato osa cholo mi nida. Kaman. Who do we attribute this brisa to? Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov. That's called like Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov. Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov dichtvei le'el l'besof. Now we have a good question. But according to Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov, he's saying the yichal zara is going back on all of them. So if we're equating all of them regarding creating the cholo, why does it say eile before besula? Right? It says the grusha zona chalola, eile lo yikoch. These you should not take. Then it says kim besula b'amov, only the virgin. But if the eile is coming to exclude something else, which is not discussed in the pasuk, besula should have been mentioned before the word eile. So why is it mentioned after eile? So evidently the eile is coming to exclude what? What's written afterwards. Not the nida. Now what's not discussed? Because if they're all equal to create the cholo, the word eila should be afterwards. And what's eila coming to exclude? The nida, which is something somewhere else, which is not mentioned in the pasuk. Okay. Now the halacha is the Torah says that a Kohen is permitted to contaminate to his what? To his 7 closest relatives, 7 relatives. Everybody agrees. Nobody argues. Let's say a Kohen has a sister. She marries. She gets married, fully married. Nobody argues. And then she dies, he cannot contaminate her. Right? What about if there's only Erisin, not Nisuin? Somebody gave her Kedushin, gave her a ring, but the marriage hasn't been completed yet. And then she dies. Could the brother contaminate her? That's the question. Tanra about achoso, arusa. You have a case, she's a sister, but she's not arusa. She's not fully married. Right? Just Kedushin. Remev, Reb Yehuda Omrim, mitamilo. Reb Yehuda says no, they still could contaminate. It's old. She has to be fully married, fully out of the father's house, that he should not be able to contaminate her. But if she's only a rus again, Reb Yossi, Reb Shimon Omrim, ein mitamilo. No. The Gemara can discuss this in a minute. Where do we know this from? Anusu mefuta. What about she was raped or she was seduced? Divrei Echot ein mitamilo. You hear this? Even though she's not married to the man. If she had a sexual relationship, willingly or even forced upon her, he cannot contaminate her. This is all based on psukim. What about mukas eitz? What about if she had an accident? And that's how she lost her virginity, not through a sexual act. Eimet tamilo div Reb Shimon. This Reb Shimon says, so I just want to point out, because the Gemara is going to make a point this tomorrow. We have the first case. Achos arusa. We have two sets arguing. We have Reb Meir and Reb Yehuda says yes. Reb Yossi and Reb Shimon, they both concur no. Now let's talk about the mukas eitz. When we come to Reb Shimon, mukas eitz, it only mentions Reb Shimon's name. Before it was Reb Yossi and Reb Shimon, correct? Here, that means Reb Yossi is arguing. He disagrees. Although in regard to Arusa, he agrees with Reb Shimon, you cannot contaminate. But now we're talking about mukas eitz. Only Reb Shimon says emetami. Reb Yossi is not mentioned. in the set. There's no set here. Sure. Shimon Omer Ruya LeKohen Gadol B'tamei Lo. You hear this? If a Kohen Gadol is permitted to marry her, then you can contaminate her. Ain't Kohen Gadol a Ruya LeKohen Gadol Ein B'tamei Lo. You hear this? So since a Kohen Gadol is not permitted to marry a Bukas Eitz, because she's not a B'sula, even though it came through an accident, he cannot contaminate her. Okay? That's Reb Shimon. Bogeres, what about Bogeres? A woman is she's a fully mature woman where the B'sulim started to deteriorate. She's not a full virgin, right? Everybody agrees, Mitamido. Divri Kol Adam. What is Divri Kol Adam? Meaning even Remeir would agree. I feel even Remeir said earlier that a Kohen Gadol is not permitted to marry a Bogeres. Remember, we had an argument before. We had an argument. Remeir says that a Bogeres, a Kohen Gadol is not permitted to marry a Bogeres. Remember, because he holds you have to be a full virgin. And Bogeres is not a full virgin. But Reb Shimon and Reb Lezer held in the Mishnah that you could marry her. Because she's still what? Even a partial virgin is okay. So we're saying, even according to Reb Meir, who says that a Kohen Gadol cannot marry a Bogeres, but in regard to contaminate, he could contaminate her. If his sister was 12 and 13 dies, the Kohen, the brother, could contaminate her. You with me, Albert? My timer, the Reb Meir. Now let's get back. Reb Meir and Reb Yu says if she's only in Arusa, the brother could contaminate her. Okay? Even though she's partially married. My time, the Reb Meir, Reb Yehuda, the Darshi Hochi, this is the way they interpret the pasuk. What does it say in the pasuk? Ulips achoso habesula. 1 second. It says he could only contaminate to a sister who was a virgin. So what would that come to exclude? Prat lanusa befuta. So whether she was raped or seduced, she agreed to have relations, he can't contaminate because it says achoso habsula. If that's the case, say apukas eitz. So maybe I should say, even she had an accident, she's no longer besula. Right? He can if she never had relations with a man. So even though she's not a besula, so we're qualifying. How did she lose her virginity? Only through sexual act, not through an accident. Misha v'yosa yish. If she lost her virginity through a man, yotzuzushin now v'yosa yish. How did she lose her virginity? She had an accident. Bukas eitz. It was due to an injury with wood. Then it says hakrova. It's achosa b'sula who's hakrova, who's close to him. What is hakrova? The Rabbi said harusa. Hear this? Once she's fully married, she's out of the house. But if she's only in harusa, that means she's still close to him. She hasn't fully left her father's house. So that's Reb Meir and Reb Yehuda say that's why a woman, although she's in harusa, the brother still can contaminate. Why? Because she's still called hakrova. Elov, what does Elov come? The Rabbis Abogeres. That even though Reb Meir holds that a Kohen Gadol is not permitted to a Bogeres, but since it says what Elov comes to include the Bogeres. Okay? 1 second. Holam Likra. Why do we need a pasuk? What do we need a pasuk called Elov? To what? To tell me that he contaminated the Bogeres. Homer Reb Meir besula fil mixas besula mashma. Right? What was Reb Meir? Why does Reb Meir say a Kohen Gadol is not permitted to marry Bogeres? Because it says, because it says, it should have says, Isha bivsuleho yikoch. So when the Torah expresses itself, what does it say over there? Bivsuleho. It doesn't say Isha bivsule yikoch. Bivsuleho means, if it would have said besula, what does besula mean? Partial besula. Bivsuleho comes to tell me she has to be a full. But over here it doesn't say bisuleho. It says besula. So what do we need Elif to tell me that he can come to a Bogeres? Here the Torah uses the word besula. So besula means even partial. So what do I need Elif to tell me even if she's a Bogeres? Without Elif I know. Besula means partial. You have the question, Albert. Norman. In medicine I wouldn't go with your head shake. I wouldn't rely on you. Okay? Before we had an argument, Reb Meir says the Kohen Gadol is not permitted to marry a Bogeres. A girl that's 12 and a half years or more, although she's still a virgin. Why? Because she's not a full virgin. Why? Because he says the word besula means partial virgin. I mean, even though it starts deteriorating as a result of age, partial virgin, that's besula. When it says a Kohen Gadol, it says ki'im, it says isha bivisuleho. It doesn't say Isha Besula Yikoch. It says Besula. It's addressing the hymen itself, the membrane. It's addressing. So that comes to tell me Besula means partial. But since the Torah uses Bivsuleho, right, that tells me she has to be a full virgin. But how does Rameir interpret the word Besula? It means even partial. So the Gemara is asking, Rameir says, how do I know that a brother who's a Kohen could contaminate to a sister even though she's a Bulgaris? So because it says Elov. There's an extra word Elov. To him. What do we need Elov? When the pasuk regarding the laws of contamination, how was she identified, the virgin? Besula. Rameir already says, what does Besula mean? Besula means partial. So what do we need an additional word to tell me even Bulgaris, when it speaks about laws of contamination, even the what? Even if she's a Bulgaris, he could contaminate. The word Besula means Bulgaris. See, it's still in the quandary.
Yeah, I was better before. Now I got more.
No, let's look again. If you look up in the Webster's Dictionary, right? Besula, partial virgin. Partial virgin means even though she's fully mature, and the Besulam aren't as robust and as full as she was when she was before she was 12. That's the meaning of the word Besula. Okay? Nothing happened. Just age, just with time, right? Now, Rameir says a Kohen Gadol is not permitted to marry a Bulgaris. But she's a Besula. If Besula means even partial, so why isn't he permitted to marry her? He says because when it speaks about him, he's not permitting who he must marry, it doesn't say Isha Besula. It doesn't say you should marry a Besula. It says Isha Bivsuleho. Literally the word Isha within her virginity he should marry. The Torah could have said Besula. She could have said Isha Besula Yikoch. Right? A woman who's a Besula he should take. It doesn't say that regarding who he should marry. It says Isha Bivsuleho. The Psulam are actually the hymen. That's speaking about, it's addressing the physical state, the condition. So from that, Rameir says, if it would only mean partial virgin, like a Bulgaris, it should have said Besula. Why does it say Bivsuleho? To tell me it's not enough to be partial. Just be a full virgin. But according to Rameir, in his dictionary, when you look up the word Besula, what does it mean? It means Bulgaris. Now we have a question. A woman who's a Bulgaris is, we say, if she's raped or she consents to have a sexual relationship, he cannot contaminate her. Right? That's the pasuk. So now we have a question. What about if she doesn't have a full virginity, according to Rameir? It says, you know why? Because it says, there's an issue where it says a love. A love includes that case. So Mara asks, according to Rameir, what do we need a love to say, even to include Bulgaris? In regard to the laws of contamination, how's she referred to? The woman who never had sexual relations. Besula. He's permitted to contaminate to a sister who is a Besula. How did Rameir interpret the word Besula? Partial virgin. So that means Bulgaris. Correct. We're talking about that. She's 12 and a half. She matured. So what do I need an additional word, Elov, to tell me even to a sister who matured? In the pasuk, when it identifies the sister, she's called Besula. I don't need an additional word to tell me that. Besula means a mature woman who's never had sexual relations. It's only as a result of maturing, the virginity is not as robust. We'll figure out why the word's there. But what do I need the word? Rameir says, why? Because that word tells me even that. So Gemara asks, what do I need that word? Even without that word, I know he can't contaminate. Because the pasuk says he's permitted to contaminate ta'achosa habsula. And she is achosa habsula. Achosa habsula means, according to Rameir, virgin. I mean, a Bulgaris, a mature sister, beyond 12 and a half years old. No, he is, but how do I know that? Because she's referred to as Isha. It's achoso habsula. According to Rameir, how does he interpret the word habsula? What it means? It means Bulgaris. But the Gemara says, in the Bryce we're quoting now, we say, why, according to Rameir, can he contaminate to the Bulgaris? Because there's an additional word, Elov. So Gemara says, what do I need? What do you have to tell me because the additional word, Elov? The pasuk calls her a Besula. Besula is sufficient for laws of contamination. For marriage, it's not sufficient to be a Besula. She has to be less than 12 and a half years old for marriage to a Kohen Gadol. But in contamination, Even if she's a bogeres, because it says Basula. That's Mar's question. It's Mar S. Eilav Rabogeres, Holomali Kro, Hama Rameir, Basula, Filmik says Basula Mashma. Mar says, no, you know why? Itzrich, Sogedach Hamino, Nele Basula, Basula Mihosam. Yeah. Let's say I find somewhere else, Basula, the word Basula means Nara. What's a Nara? A Nara is a girl who's 12 years old. Not 12, they have 12. Less than 12. So I'd say, when it speaks about a person who goes and rapes a Nara Hamoroso, right? It means she was betrothed at the age of 12 and he rapes her. So the law is, it's considered adultery for the rapist. He's put to death through stoning. And it says she's a Nara HaBesula. Don't tell me he's liable for stoning. Only she has to be a virgin who was betrothed. Less than 12 and a half. So what do we see over there? The word Besula means what? It means less than 12? Less than 12 and a half? So how do I know in regard to contamination? That it means old 12 and a half and above. There, the word Besula means she's less than 12 and a half. So that's what he says. So that just as over there when it says Besula means she's less than 12 and a half. Regarding the raping a married woman who's less than 12 and a half, who's betrothed. Afkanami Nara. Kamashmalon, what do we have? We have a love to tell me, even that's true, but in this particular context, contamination, even if she's a bogeres, Elov tells me he contaminates her. So Tosas explains, but the fact that Rebbeir says earlier, Besula means what? Besula means partial. You know how we know? Because it says Elov. We learn it from this law. Elov tells me regarding contamination, what does Besula mean in the context of Kohen? It means 12 and a half and above. But if I wouldn't have this word Elov, you know, I would say Besula means less than 12 and a half. As it means over there regarding a man who rapes a married woman. Who's Nara Besula means she over there she's less than 12. Because she's a Nara. So I'd say Besula means Nara. Okay? Reb Yossi, Reb Shimon, my time. So we say, according to Rebbeir and according to Reb Yehuda, a brother can contaminate to a sister who's betrothed, who's an Arusa. What does Reb Yossi, Reb Shimon say? No, he can't. My time. Why? Darshi Hochi. This is the way to interpret it. It says, La Chosa Besula. A sister who's a virgin, Prat La Nusa Mefuta. So if she was raped or seduced, she's not a Besula. Correct? So, Umukas eitz, or even mukas eitz. She had an accident. Cannot. Ashelohoiso. Now, so if I'm already learning a chosab psula, the one who had sexual relationship, what is the pasuk? Ashelohois. It says ashelohois leish. She was not with a man. Prat ashelohoiso leish means prat la rusak, right? That comes to exclude. We already said if she had sexual relations, it's excluded from the beginning of the pasuk. What does it say? It says, right? It says achosa habsula. So achosa habsula, if she had relations with a man, she's out. So what does it say? Ashkelohoy salish. She was not with a man. She was not. That means what? Betrothed. That means she was not betrothed by a man. No. But if she's betrothed, the pasuk's saying then what? Not. No, having accents is the same because that she's not a basula any longer. We're going afterwards. Prat la rusa. Hakrova. What is hakrova? The rabos arusa. Shin is garsha. Yeah, that's interesting. We have two cases arusa. You have a woman, she's betrothed. Yeah, Norman, she's betrothed. Then she dies before brother cannot contaminate, according to Rabbi Yossi and Reb Shimon. What happens if she's betrothed and divorced before she's fully married? And then she dies. The brother contaminates. Even though, why? Because she never left the household fully. If a woman's out of the household of the father, she never returns. But since over here she only left partially, so when the marriage is terminated after Erison, she returns. So she's fully returned. So therefore now when she dies, the brother contaminates her. Okay? No, not because it says because she's connected to another man, even on a kedusha erison level, right? So it says hakrovo. But if she's close, Being the Arusa, although one time she was slightly distant, but now she's returned. She's Hakrova. How? The Rabbis Arusa Shin Garsha. That's the Arusa was divorced. So now she's back. So now if she dies, the brother contaminates her. Okay? A love. What is a love? The Rabbos is a Bogeres. That comes to include the Bogeres. Hakrova. The Rabbos Arusa Shin Garsha. Somebody asked a question. We're saying, what does Hakrova teach me? That includes the Arusa that was divorced. Right? That's the way Rabbi Yosef Reb Shimon is saying. Why could he contaminate to the sister who was divorced? Because it says Hakrova. Somebody asked a question. V'omer Reb Shimon, Ru'yi l'kohen gadol metame, shein ru'yi l'kohen gadol ein metame. Reb Shimon says that if a kohen gadol can marry her, then he can contaminate. If not, not. Right? So if that's the case, so how could you tell me Hakrova, if she was married and divorced, the kohen gadol can't marry her? So what's the answer? Shani Hosam, the Rabbi Rachman, Krova. Because I have the pasuk is Krova because she's back. Terrific question here. If you tell me Krova comes to tell me, even though she was married, although Kohen Gadol cannot marry her, what do we say? Nevertheless, he can contaminate. So why does he say Reb Shimon say Mukas Eitz? Right? Although the Kohen Gadol cannot contaminate her, he should also be able to what? He should also be able to contaminate her. Reb Shimon and Reb Yossi say, Mukas Eitz, he cannot contaminate her. Right? We're talking about Kohen Gadol. Right? Ihochi Mukas Eitz Nami? Rami? Krova Achas Lushtaim. I can't learn two things. Hear this. I have two cases. I have a case of a woman's Mukas Eitz. Not Kohen Gadol. Even an ordinary brother could give Mitami to a sister who's a Mukas Eitz. Because she's not a virgin any longer. Right? So, Reb what's his name says, who's it? Reb Shimon. Reb Shimon says he cannot contaminate her because she's not a virgin, right? And we say, but she could contaminate to a sister that was betrothed, Arusa, and then divorced. Why? Because it says Hakrova. Because she's still close. So that's but a Kohen Gadol can't marry. The answer is it doesn't make a difference. The pasuk Hakrova means, despite that, she's the exception. So now the Gemara said, why by Mukas Eitz? Why are you learning the case of the betrothed woman who's divorced? He can contaminate. Why did I learn Mukas Eitz? He says, because you can only learn one thing from the pasuk, not two. So now the Gemara said, but why do you prefer that over this? If it was, I would say that maybe the Mukas Eitz, because she was never involved, she was never attached to another man. That's the Gemara's question. Gemara says, you learn one, not both. So Gemara asks, 1 second. So why do you prefer being married, Ersin, and not Mukas Eitz? Mar says, because one, an action happened to her. It may have been an accident, right? Because factually she lost her virginity. Doesn't make a difference.
More of a hold on her than the United States. So that's the argument.
Yeah. So the Gemara says, Rabbi Yosim Nishafki Lebarzuge, yeah. When it speaks about the case where the other cases, she's an Arusa, it says Rabbi Yossi and Reb Shimon hold that you cannot. When we come to Mukas Eitz, it only mentions Reb Shimon. Right? They're not stated as a pair. So since he's not mentioned together with Reb Shimon, Reb Yossi Midishafki Lebarzugi, since Reb Yossi separated himself from his partner, Mechlal de Mukas Eitz, Karemeis really. Evidently he holds the Karemeis that what? That although she lost her virginity, he can't contaminate her. Menoleg. How does he know that? The answer is Mlohoi Salish. Yeah? Because it says only she was never somewhere else. Va'afiktei. Yeah? But he says, but we also use that pasuk. He's telling me I can't learn two things from the same pasuk. But we said before, we learned from Lohoi Salish, we learned the case of what? Of Arusa. Chad mi lohoisa v'chad mi liish. It says lohoisa, and lohoisa is one, and loish. Elov, the rabbos, is a bogeris. We say Elov comes to include the bogeris. that he could contaminate to the Bogeres. I've Reb Shimon, Besula, Shleima Mashma. Now, we had earlier, according to Reb Meir said, if you look up in his dictionary, right, what you want to call it, Ben Gurion, Ben Eliezer, or Webster, and whoever you want to put there, or Benjamin Franklin's Children's Almanac, whatever you want to call it, okay? So, if you look up the word Besula, according to Reb Meir, Besula says partial virgin. According to Reb Shimon, the Besula means complete. So if it means partial, then it's so. When it says B'Psuleo, it means complete, according to Reb Meir. But if Besula means complete, then it's B'Psuleo. According to Reb Shimon, that means partial, right? So it says V'Omer Reb Shimon B'Sula Shleima Masha. The word B'Sula normally means Shleima, right? So we have a problem. So how could Reb Shimon say that a Bogeres, he could contaminate the Bogeres? In the pasuk says Besula. Phenomenal question, right? The Deinami Hosem Yochad the Dorish Hochi Medeilo of the Rabbis Bogeres, right? He says, how does he know Besula normally means a full virgin? Because over here, how do we know a Bogeres? Because it's Elov. It's only because it says Elov. That's what Besula doesn't mean. Doesn't mean to exclude the Bogeres. But what does the word Besula mean in its own right? It means a full virgin. So therefore he learns over there, right? Mechlal de Besula, Shleima Mashma. Okay, good. Now this comes up in interesting Shiloh. A Giores, a woman who converts to be a Jew, she's more than 3 in a day. She's classified as a Zona. Kohen cannot marry her. We had a Shiloh. What about if she's less than 3 years old? So we say it's Machlok from Shimi Choyin the Chachomim. If a woman has relations before she's 3 years old, what happens? No, it will grow back. Even if it's ruptured, it's more than 3, it's not coming back. So therefore, we're saying like this. We can see in a moment. Shimi Choyin says, so if a convert converts before she's 3 years old, Kohen is permitted to marry her. Because she has no relevance. When she became a Jew, her classification wasn't Zona before she converted, because the whole concept of a sexual relationship had no relevance to her before she was 3 years old. That's Reb Shimi Choy. So he says, "Time Reb Shimi Choy Omer Gioris Pchusim Ashol Lishon of Yom Echad Ksheira L'Kuna." A Kohen's permitted to marry. She's not called a Zona. Shenemar, but he brings a proof. How do you know that? It says when we destroyed Midian, we had captives, right? We took captives by Midian. So they brought back the women. So Moshe Rabbeinu was angry. He says, well, these are the women you sinned with, Balpor. So it says they took all the women who knew men, and they put them to death. Right? Now, what does that mean? It says, Choltaf ben noshim shelo yodu mishka zocher hechyu lochem. Right? It says the women who did not have relations with a male, hechyu lochem, you permitted to take for yourselves. Now, you'd say, Kohanim don't go to battle, right? But Pinchas, he led them into battle. So Pinchas led them into battle. Pinchas is a Kohen. So, and he says, Hechilchem, you permitted to marry them. That means even Pinchas is permitted. So you see clearly, since they were less than 3 years old, although they were converted, they're permitted to a Kohen, right? V'Rabbanon, so you know what the Rabbanon say? They disagree. They say a Gioris even less than 3 years old doesn't qualify for a Kohen. Why? But it says Hechyu Lachem. You can take for yourselves Lavod L'Shvachos. It means they don't have to be killed, but you take them as chattel. You can keep them not as wives, not within a context of a spouse. As chattel. Somewhere says Yehochi Bashal L'Shon of Yom Echad Nami. So if that's the case, why not? If it means chattel, why even if she's more than 3 years old? If you talk about within the context of Zona. So lochem, right? But if it's slaves, what difference does it make? She's more than 3, less than 3. It's all the same, right? Could Rafuna Rami? There's a Stirim Psukim. Oh, we'll see. This is learning Chumash. Rashi and Chumash brings this. When they killed the women, it says all women who knew a male. Does it mean they had relations, or does it mean they're old enough that if they had relations, it's called a sexual relation? So the Gemara is going to show from the Psukim. Even though the girl never had relations with a man, but since she's in a position that she could have relations, and we'd call the sexual relation, she was put to death. Rami ksiv kol isha yodas ishka ish mishkav zochar harogu. Any woman who had mishkav zochar, who had laid with a man, you should kill. So what's the inference? The ho'eni yodas kimu. So the inference is, but if she never had sexual relations, you could retain her. Mechlal dataf. So if that's the case, children. Bein yodu, bein loyu kimu. So children. Since a child more than 3, less than 3, she has no sexual relation, you're permitted to retain her, not to kill her. Uksiv, but then what does it say? Only the children who didn't have relations. Hayodu harogu. So what does that mean? But people don't have sexual relations with children above 3 years old. I'm not talking about a bunch of pedophiles over here, right? So they didn't. Havi Omer. So what does it mean? What does it mean? They knew they had relations with a man. It means they're a bit old enough that if they would have relations, it's called a sexual relation. Havi Omer beruya livol hakos medaber. I mean, if she's above 3, and therefore she would have relations with a man, who would call a sexual relationship, that woman you have to kill. But if she's less than 3, which even if you would, it's not called a sexual act. Those are the women, the children you're permitted to retain.
Every woman over 3, you had to kill.
Correct. But it's proving that.
Whether they did or they didn't.
Correct.
They could've.
Because if they would have, it's
Whether
called a
they would have
sexual
been
act.
sex, right.
Okay. Tanya Namihochi, this is what we're saying. It says in we learned in the Bible called Isha Yodas Ish Beruya Livol Kos Medaber. It means a woman who if you would have sexual act, we call it a sexual act. Maybe it means she actually had to have relations. You see, we speak about children. It's the child who wasn't engaged with a man, but even the child above 3 is not engaged with a man. Because Yadi. So now the Gemara wants to know. So how did they know? Now, it's factually. They brought them back. How do you know if a girl is less than 3 or a little more than 3? It says they killed them immediately. That means what determined to make this determination? So on that, the Gemara says, "No yadi." The Kohen Gadol wore a tzitz. He wore that's the golden plate on his forehead. They passed the girl before the tzitz. Kol sheponem orikos biyodua shirui livoil. If her face took on a jaundiced look, that means she was above 3 years old. Kol she'ein ponem orikos biyodua she'ein rui livoil. If she didn't take on the jaundiced look, that means she's less than 3. That's how it was a miracle. Omer Rav Nachman similar aver hadrokan. There's a person who commits, has sexual improprieties. He takes on a certain type of look. Okay, it says, what was the Torah Pilegish Begivo? Right, there was a Torah Pilegish Begivo. A woman was raped. They went against the war against Binyamin. There was one location the community didn't go to war against Binyamin, so they went to that community. So most of the tribe Binyamin was annihilated. So, but some was left. So they needed wives. So there was a community who didn't participate in the war. They put the males to death, and there were 400 women that it says who did not know Mishkav Zohar, and they gave those women to the men of Shev Binyamin. Mino Yadi. How did they know if they had sexual relations or not? We're talking about these girls. We're not talking about children. These are women. Omer Rav Kana Hoshiva Pichov V'Shel Yain. Hear this? You're both doctors. They put them on a barrel of wine. And so the bottom is exposed to the wine. Right? Bu'ula reichon nodef. If she had sexual relations, the smell of wine would come out of her mouth. Besula ein reichon nodef. There was no smell of wine. Someone asked, "V'navrin lefnei tzitz." What do you need? The barrel test. You have the tzitz. Omer Rav Kana. These are Jewish women here. Omer Rav Kana. Breder of Nosen Rotzen Lemksiv. You only use it for positive things, right? This is for negative. See, the Rotzen Volporons. This is actually to say who's going to be eligible, who's not going to be eligible, who's going to be killed. Somebody says Ihochi b'midjan nami. So over there was for tragedy. They put to death any of the girls who were above 3. Omer Avashi lohem ksiv. For us, the tzitz can only be used l'rotzon, for positive things. V'lo lo v'tkochovim, but for goyim, afilu pranas. You could even use the tzitz to bring destruction upon them, because it was midjan. You killed the children to determine the children that are going to be put to death. Omar Rav Yaakov Aridi, Omar Rav Yeshua ben Levi, Haloch Rav Shimon Choy. This we rule like Rav Shimon Choy. That's what he says. That a giores who's less than 3 years old converts before 3, a Kohen's permitted to marry her. That's what he said. That's what Rav Yaakov Aridi says. Name Yeshua ben Levi. Haloch Rav Shimon Choy. Omar Rav Zero, Rav Yaakov Aridi. B'feir Shemir Loch or Michlol Shemir Loch. When you tell me we rule like Rav Shimon Choy that a giores less than 3 is qualified for a Kohen, did you hear that stated explicitly, or you deduced it from an incident? An incident took place, and from that incident you deduced it. My chlolo. What would be an incident that took place that you'd be able to deduce this? The Omar Reb Shimon Levi. Shimon Levi said, there was a certain community in Eretz Yisrael. It was a question of the legitimacy of the children. Were they Kohanim? Were they not? Vishaga Rebbe is Reb Romanis Ubotko. You hear this? He went to check out whether they were legitimate Jews, Mamzeh, whatever they were. Umotzo bo baski yoris pchusim ha'sholushonim v'yom echad. He found there was what? There was a Gioris who was less than 3 years old, was married to a Kohen. V'chshira, V'chshir Rebbe Lakuna. And Rebbe ruled that Gioris is qualified to marry a Kohen. So from that incident, that's how we derived that we ruled like Reb Shimon Choy. Because Rebbe said, right, he reported back, he says, I came upon a girl, she's less than 3 years old, she was converted. Rebbe says that girl can marry, is qualified for a Kohen. Omale befer shemile. 1 second. Omale befer shemile. So he answered, no, I heard it befer. It wasn't deduced from that incident, but rather I heard him say explicitly, we rule like Reb Shimon Choy. You hear this? And let's say, what difference makes you heard explicitly, or it was derived from the story, from an incident? Either way, it's the same thing. It has the same validity. It says, Dilma, Shani Hosan, Ho, V'insiv. There, maybe, to marry a Giores less than 3, even Rav Shimon Choy agrees not. You're not permitted. Post facto, they marry, we let them remain married. Why? The Rav Rabbi Yochanan Amitavayu, Bogeres Mukaseitz Lo Yiso. Says, Rabbi Rabbi Yochanan says that a Kohen, Godel, is not permitted to marry a Bogeres or a woman who had an accident. Vim nosid nosid, but if you marry them, we don't force them to divorce her. Somewhere says, Hochiash, Bishlam Hosam, Sofa, Leos Bogeres Tachtos, over Leos Bula Tachtov. Over here, you say, ultimately, even though she's a Bogeres, if he marries her, she's going to turn into that. That's why we allow them to remain married. But Ohocha, Sofa, Leos Zona Tachtov. Yep. The reason why over there we say if she marries, we can keep, because ultimately that would be her predicament. But over here, what's the disqualification of a Gioris? She's a Zona. So you say, now that he marries, we let her be what? When a man marries a woman legitimately, she becomes a Zona? This classification has no relevance to being married to her. So therefore here, of course, he'd have to divorce her. Rav Safra, Masin Lo Mechlolo. Rav Nasa says, we know we rule like Shimon. It was deduced. V'kashalei, u'mashanu lehochi. Ahu kahano the itziv gioris plus masholishon v'yomechot. That was the story. Omalei Rav Nachman Yitzchak Maihai. Omalei Domer Rav Yaakov Idi Omer Rav Shimon Levi Haloch Rav Shimon Choy. Omalei, hear this? He says the reason why was Rav Yaakov Idi. He says, okay. So based on this, they were ruling that a Kohen's permitted to marry a gioris less than 3 years old. So now Rav Nachman Yitzchak says, what's going on over here? It's like the Wild West. You're permitting Kohen to marry a convert less than 3 years old. So Amalei, he says, why not? Omer of Yaakov Ridi, Omer of Shimon Levi, Haloch Reb Shimon Choy. He said, Reb Yaakov Ridi said, we rule like Reb Shimon Choy. Amalei. So Rav Nachman Yitzchak says, Sil Apik, I want you to go announce that we don't rule this way. Vilo, Mafkin Loch Reb Shimon Choy Me'oznach. I'm going to pull this Rav Yaakov Ben Idi out of your ear. Meaning there's no way I'm going to tolerate you making this public knowledge that you're permitted to marry. Tanya v'chein b'shimini choyom. It is the famous Gemara. The question, is a Jew permitted, a Kohen, is he permitted to go to a non-Jewish cemetery? Is he contaminated? Rav Shimon Choy says only a Jew contaminates in an oil. A Goy does not contaminate oil. This is the famous Gemara. This is the Gemara here. B'chloks of Shimon Choy Necham. Shimon Choy says, Kivrei over the Gechov Einam Etamin. the grave of a non-Jew does not contaminate. We're not talking tumas maga, not touching any corpse, Jew, not Jew, but under the same roof or over the corpse. Rav Shimon Choy says that why? Shenema, it's a pasuk in Yechezkel. It says, "Ve'etein tzoni tzon arisi." Oh, my sheep, my flock. Odom atem. What is odom atem? Atem kriyim odom vein over the kohom kriyim odom. How do we know that a corpse contaminates in no oil? Because it says in the pasuk, it says odom ki yomas bo'oil. Odom, a person's classification is odom. That's what it contaminates. And since it says in this pasuk odom atem, who has classification odom? Only you, only the Jew, not the goy. Therefore, goy doesn't contaminate in the oil. Meisvei. Samara asks, "V'nefesh odom shisha osa." When afterwards they tallied up all the spoils of war, it says this is by Ogen. What's it called? When they conquered the Transjordan side, all the spoils. How many the chattel of human beings? This is nefesh odom shisha osa elif. There were 16,000 males. Mishum behemo. Asher yesh bo harbe mishtei mesrei ribo. What does this mean? I don't know how to read this. One second. B'mijan ksivia. Mishani hod koreli odom. Oh, we're asking. We're saying, why does Reb Shimon Choy say that a non-Jew is not called, is what? Doesn't connect, because it says odom atem. So we're asking, it says nefesh odom. It says by when they captured the Midian, it says there were 16,000 odom. And these are Midianites. So we see even the Midianites called odom. Right? That's the Gemara's question. Nefesh odom mishum behemo. I mean, mishum behemo sheyesh bo. Harbi mishteim esrei ribo. If we're not going to call them odom, how are we going to differentiate between? There were 120,000 animals. So what are we going to call? What do we call the human beings? You have to call them something. It's not within a halachic context. Odom means there were human beings, there were animals. There were 16,000 human beings. How many animals were there? 120,000. So we have to discern between animal and human being. You call them odom. Right? Asher yesh bo harbe mishnei shtei mesrei odom asher lo yoda ben yamino l'smolo mishum behemo. What's the odom asher lo yoda ben yamino l'smolo? What does that mean? A man doesn't know the difference between his right and left. There you go. 1 second. Yeah. Ubehemo rabo mishum behemo kol hori. Yeah. Now we ask a question. What's odom asher lo yoda ben yamino? What does that mean? A man doesn't know the difference between his right and left. Just that piece. I just won't get to the Mishnah. Albert, what does that mean? No, we said that. What is? No, before that. He
separates between animals.
So we said that. Adam, who does? So what do we have to speak about? Not between his right and left. What does that mean? We already said we have to identify animals and human beings. They're called Adam. Okay. Some more S. Okay. It says Mishum Behemo. Some more says, but it says Kol Horig Nefesh Chol Nogeh B'Chol Tischato. After they came back from battle, it says they had whoever was contaminated had to what? Had to purify themselves. Some more says Dilma Iktu Chadmi Yisrael. So Reb Shimon Choy says maybe a Jew was killed in battle. So that's why they have to. Rabbanan lo nifkat mimenu ish, but it says in the pasuk, no, there wasn't one casualty. Reb Shimon Choy lo nifkat mimenu ish laveiro, meaning no Jew sinned in battle. You understand? The one who went to battle, these were pure soldiers, right? How many people went to battle? Right? 12,000 went to battle. Right? This is elef lamate. Right? So those 12 who were chosen were pure people. They never sinned with Balpor. Rabbi Yevamos says simple. When we say the machlok shemshim is what contaminates in an oil. Everybody agrees. If you touch a corpse, Jew, not Jew, everybody agrees. Even you contaminate. They're arguing here, what about an oil? That's so when you go to war, you directly engage with the goy. You touch the goy, you kill him. Therefore, they had to purify themselves. To be continued.